Hello, hi, namaste. I'm Momita Gokhale, your transformation coach, and I'm back with the 11th episode. In fact, the second last episode of the series, Rendezvous, the Transformation Story. As you've heard several guests talk about transformation, today I have a very old friend, in fact, an old colleague, right, hailing from Tata Motors, which was also my first organization and introduction to the corporate world, Abhishek Mathur. Over 22 years of experience, Abhishek is originally from India and he has been working in SEA and Australia for the last 10 years. He is currently based in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. He's a postgraduate in management with a specialization in HR from Symbiosis University, Pune, and he holds an executive master's degree in change consulting and coaching from INSEAD, that's France, Singapore. He's also an ACC certified coach from ICF. He's trained and certified in the Hogan suite of psychometric instruments and other 360-degree tools. As you can see, I can go on and on about Abhishek, but something that's really has struck me about him is he's passionate to develop current and future leaders within organizations who would like to identify and realize their potential towards a journey of fulfillment, joy, and peace. He's a regular practitioner of meditation, about which he talks to us in the conversation. Apart from travel and spirituality, he likes to play golf, although he calls himself an amateur, badminton, and cricket, and likes to spend time exploring the beautiful coffee shops in Vietnam. So tune in now to listen to a very, very interesting conversation with Abhishek on transformation and some glimpses of the way we started our corporate journey way back in 1999.
Yeah,
Hi, Abhishek. How are you doing?
very well, Momita. It's so good to see you. Thank you for
And,
having me here.
and so good to meet on this platform. I guess some decades back, we have started work together. I think it's already
I know.
goosebumps talking to you about transformation of all the topics, Abhishek. So
Yes.
let me start with the very basic question. It's been, yours is going to be the 11th episode of the season, and I'm sure by now my
Okay.
listeners already know what's my first question. So let me just tweak it a little bit. So
Sure.
transformation, if
Sure.
you hear the word transformation, what comes in your mind?
Change, uh, moving from a place A to place B, and it can be physical, it can be inner journey. Um, and it's about, and since you asked me about word, it's about, yeah, I think I'll stick with change.
Okay. That's good
Mm.
because most of the time we come across these words kind of going together, like, change as well as
And
transformation.
transformation. Yeah. Okay.
So, what has been your experience in terms of change and transformation?
So there are aspects of what you call as incremental change, and then you have what you call as an exponential change, right? Uh, Transformations happen when there can be an external influence, there can be an internal situation that demands transformation of an individual, or the circumstances completely change. And it could be either you're transitioning into a completely new role, you're transitioning from one location to the other, or so which is from a work context perspective. But then it could be inner transformation that might be required for an individual to go through depending on certain life events.
Hmm.
I think we all know when you get married, there is a certain transformation that happens. When you have kids, there is a certain transformation that needs to happen. And that's primarily because there is a role, there's a change in terms of identity that needs to happen. Uh, Death in an immediate family member also goes takes you through a transformational journey. or and then divorce, separation, and things like that. So there are these life events which have an impact on an individual's, uh, and that's what's like an identity which requires that transformation and that change. Um, so yeah, so I think those would be some of my thoughts on how someone would be looking at change versus transformation. Is like Alvin Toffler's change is the only constant, which is justified. But what makes the leap to a transformation are some really external or internal upheavals, which in my view would be the exponential change that we're talking about.
I like the way you're trying to integrate both internal and external changes, that may bring
Yeah,
about transformation. And that's something
yeah,
that I have also been looking at and trying to do my own research, that is it transformation only internal? And now when I've been talking to various people, yes, it can be triggered externally. And as you rightly say, life event. It could also be, something that you have come across, and, it may not be in professional space as well as personal space. So something that would have triggered. So talking of triggers, when was the first time that you came across transformation? What triggered your transformation?
wow. So I think for me, there was a life event when my father passed away. I think I was fairly young, but I didn't realize that would be a transformation. I think it did. You just go through the motions at that point in time. You just look at taking those events as they come. But actual transformation happened when I went to do my MBA at Symbiosis Center for Management and HRD in Pune, because as part of their curriculum, they had this 10-day Vipassana meditation course. So way back in 1998 is when we went for the 10-day course. And that's when I actually got some verbiage around internal transformation. The discourse, the concepts of how we as individuals react to situations, and what should we be focusing on if we really want to live our life to the fullest. So yeah, so to your question, that was the time when the concept of transformation and inner transformation kind of got to me, and that has since then been with me in some shape or form. There have been moments in the last those 25 years where I have lost that concept and gone back again. So since then I've done two more 10-day Vipassana courses just to regroup and connect with the concept, but also try to live by some of those ideas.
Yeah. I guess you are one of the luckiest ones to get exposed to a concept like that so early in life. And I remember our initial years of working together as colleagues.
Yeah.
I still remember that fresh, vibrant Abhishek, just roaming around. Hey, what else you want me to do? That kind of spirit. So I guess that energy, that vibrancy happens only when we are transformed as individuals, wanting to do more. You mentioned you went again for Vipassana, and that kind of also helps me build that it's continuous process. It's not that I transform and it's over. It's a continuous process with a lot of consistency in it. So when you tell me that you have been going up and down in the last 25 years, what is your belief? What is your belief around transformation?
So the fundamental belief actually comes from Mahatma Gandhi's quote that you need to be the change that you wish to see in the world, right? So if you want to see the transformation around you, it needs to start with you. So I think that's my fundamental belief, and therefore each one of us need to take that time to reflect as to what are we trying to control. Are we trying to define the change around us, or are we, which is beyond our control, actually. But how we are focusing inwards on things that we can control. So that's my fundamental belief around change slash transformation, that we we can only do that within when we go in an inward journey, and that's a journey. As I said, it's not a point in time. It's a continuum. The second is that it there are many variables that come into play when you are looking at a system, or what you call as an ecosystem. So you are where you are, and you are an integral part of that system, which affects how things will change. And to be aware of it is where that self-awareness, that connectedness to the system, to understand how that transformation or that change that either you are bringing in or that change is affecting you as an individual, is important. To therefore bring everything in perspective, right? So I think those are the two fundamental beliefs that I have around change and transformation. That one, it starts with you, so you need to be the change, and two, it's not only you. You also need to understand the system and how that interplay happens.
In fact, the first part is, of course, thanks for bringing this up, that it's only you that change can happen. And my profession has been around that. And being a facilitator and now a coach, I think that's one of the most difficult things for each one of us, which perhaps includes me and you as well, to accept that I need to do something about it, even before expecting somebody else to do it. So that's the first part, which I think I'm completely aligned with you, Abhishek. The second part actually takes me to another question that I had in my mind.
Sure.
The ecosystem. And at times in our journey of transformation, we have gone so inward. It has an impact on everyone around us, be it a boss, be it our colleagues, our employees, our friends, and our immediate family. So what do you think is the role that they can play, or we need to talk to them or do with them, so that this transformation is a little more easier for each one of us?
So it's, as they say, that it takes a village to raise a child, right? And that when we are nurturing that inner child in that transformation or change journey, we need to therefore elicit and get as many people to help in that journey. And you'll be surprised that when you ask for that kind of a help, there'll be more hands that will be outstretched, as compared to what our inner mind says, that there's nobody to help us and it's only us who can help ourselves, which is true to a certain extent, but it's always good to seek help. So one is that, so it's identifying the people who would be co-passengers in that journey of, and we're talking about inner transformation here. So we're not talking about obviously the organizational transformations. In an inner transformation journey, you need to seek people who you want to be as co-passengers, who are navigators, who are people who can help you with that. So that's one. Second, you need to define the roles. You need to also share with them what's the journey that you are going through, and what is it that you seek as their role in this journey. Some might be that you can appoint them as the devil's advocate, that as and when they see you exhibiting a certain behavior that you are looking to change, you can give them the moral and all the authority to call you out. Some you need as a patient listener, and there are different, therefore, roles that you would want. It's also important for us to have that immediate family / friends, etc., to know that you're on this journey, because they don't know what you're going through, and therefore when you try to see and exhibit some behaviors, they may react very differently. And then with that ecosystem not responding the way you thought, it will have a different reaction to you, and therefore your change journey and transformation journey might have a different impact. So it's therefore, to your point, it's absolutely important when you are undertaking a journey of self-transformation to get your key people uh, part of that journey and, as I said, define their roles.
Yeah, I like the way you said defining roles. That's really very important. And I connect to where, maybe also setting certain boundaries, because sometimes people,
Yeah,
if I don't set up the boundaries, possibly my entire journey may be questionable, or I may be also confused in the path. Let me take you back. Maybe now we are talking where somebody is already aware that he or she is going through transformation. What happens to
yeah.
those who are not even aware? I mean, I'm sure you come across so many people who you
Mm-hmm.
see change, but they don't feel, oh, I'm something is happening, and they're actually going through a big transformation. How do they figure out that yes, I'm transformed? What would you tell
Yeah.
them?
Uh, so a lot of times I have experienced the examples are when people transition from one job to the other,
Mm.
and they are in the bubble that okay, so they are in that role because they obviously they deserved and they are already ready, and therefore they start ex- exhibiting certain behaviors or attributes which may be detrimental in the medium to the long run, and they are not aware of it. So in terms of how when somebody gets promoted into a different role, how do they really get the whole team together? Because the challenges that one typically comes across is I have these difficult team members who are not either they're not aligning with what I want, or how do I really get the buy-in of the team? But so either I go directive or I go completely democratic, and the results get affected. Things like that, and that's where you have those conversations with individuals in terms of what is it that you are looking for? What's the journey that you have till yesterday you were X in contributor or X individual. Now you have a different responsibility. How have you thought about that journey? That how will you bridge that? So you kind of take them through the journey. Have you also just helping them connect with some of those fears? Because a lot of times the fears and the insecurities linger on, and so while, as you said, they may not think that they need any transformation they're displaying, but you can highlight what are some of the blind spots that you're observing for them, and work around their aspect of coming from a place of empathy, helping them become a little more vulnerable and be able to uh, see what are the areas that they could want to focus on. So it's more on, and those I have seen a lot in terms of when people change roles, or when they move countries. Uh, it's a big transition that happens, and people do require that kind of a guide, mentor, coach
Yeah.
in that journey. They don't need to be told what to do, but they need like a sounding board, so to speak.
And that's something very nice. If people are coming up and seeking help, I think that's something concrete, which you mentioned, even with your ecosystem, you go and seek help. Uh, so first,
Yeah.
of course, what I hear, and one is, of course, being aware, and two is accepting, and then going ahead and seeking help in different ways. And you also mentioned the blind spots, especially, what's stopping me from going ahead. And if somebody else is able to pick that up for me, I
Yeah.
think that's wonderful to go ahead. So, I have been exploring this, and not everyone is very comfortable changing, right, Abhishek? I'm sure you have gone through your time, and I have gone through my own time
Yeah,
personally.
of course.
Uh, so when you look back and the changes that you would have gone through, changes I would have gone through, and maybe the transformed selves that we are after so many years of experience, uh, is there anything still that you would like to change about yourself? No, I don't want to be that, or I want to be this.
Lots, of course, absolutely.
So maybe top two.
There are there are constant a lot of feedbacks that I get from family and friends. Uh, okay, but the couple of things that obviously you continuously work upon are your biggest asset in life are relationships, right? So you continuously try to work to be a better friend, son, brother, partner, whatsoever. So that's a constant journey that you have to work through on a daily basis. And I don't think anybody can say that, yes, I have achieved the nirvana around relationships, right? You all learn from your mistakes or slash learnings, and then you obviously repeat some again, and then you learn from them. So that's definitely one. The other is I've I want to like I think I was a lot more and aggressive as an individual, where ambition and aggression was driving my life at a particular stage. I guess as you grow old, I and you get a little more gray hair. I think it's wisdom, but you kind of just try to therefore balance things out, and that balancing of the right aggression slash ambition versus thoughtfulness, and it's a constant balance, and then you try to achieve that. The third is that, and as one becomes wise, you also get to realize that you still have to perform things which you don't like, and you still have to do no matter what, right? And therefore to get that right energy so that you don't procrastinate, and therefore to get in the mental state to still do things with the right vigor, and things which you may not enjoy doing or may not be your preference, but you still have to do it. And that's, I think, part of growing up, I guess, of becoming wise, I guess.
I think growing up is a better word than growing old or wise. So I will go with growing up. My son always tells me, Mama, when will you grow up? So I think I can connect to that.
Yeah.
So I think you said a very powerful thing of accepting that you still need to perform things which you may not want to do, or, and that kind of triggered this question. Transformation does involve a lot of emotion, a lot of turbulence, because it's all inward. I mean, you end up seeing some facets of yourself which you yourself are not comfortable with. So how do you think one can deal with that phase?
I'm still trying to. So I'll just share my experience of it. I obviously have not been initially the best of people who would be able to share their emotions in the manner that some people are able to do. And I wore that as a badge of honor, saying that, okay, I'm able to deal all of that myself. And therefore, you restrict yourself to that transformation journey only for yourself, rather than you could have created a much larger pool, as we spoke shortly. So what my experience in the last 6 years, as I started on my coaching journey and change management practice, was to therefore get in touch with my own emotions first. And the challenge that we all have is we have all of these emotions, but we don't know how to use the right verbiage for those emotions, right? There's one book which, if any of your listeners would be interested, that helped me put words to those emotions, because then, as we all do, then it became a little more rational to the emotions, and therefore I could work through those emotions to say, okay, this is what I'm feeling, and this is where. So there's a book called Non-Violent Communications, which is a very powerful book. And if there's any of your listeners who are interested in that journey of working with your own emotions, I would definitely recommend that book highly. So I did go through that journey. I and that also prompted the third Vipassana session, but also I I did a course, I did a master's in organization psychology, change management, and coaching around that. So that process worked in terms of just connecting with myself, my emotions, and just to be present, trying to be present in that moment to then see as to what things are and be able to communicate that and also share the same thing with others. And the moment that I started doing those uh, those things, I saw a shift in the way the system around you operated, which kind of then helped me to respond accordingly. Uh, and therefore it was really good. So it was like an upward spiral because you got the right response, and they were not all days were the same. You could then also see that when you are not being authentic to your being connected, those were the days where you therefore lost the plot. And it's a continuous journey that we all, at least I am trying to be on, and I hopefully be able to be more in that space than anything else.
I'm just loving this moment, that Abhishek actually articulating this and emotions. And you were like bang on when you said, we all have emotions. Possibly the way we articulate or the need to articulate, and that's a
Yeah,
choice that we have. It's not that we do not have emotions, and that's been my
absolutely.
uh, I think that's my go-to from day one that I've ever known myself, that
Yeah,
whatever it is, bad, ugly, good, frustrated, say it. Let's not keep it within. And the second part, I
yeah,
really loved it, the way you articulate. And that's something that I have also learned, that I may be ready with my emotion, but the person in front of me may not be ready to take it. So
that's
I
right.
need to choose how I am emoting, how I'm communicating. I think very, very powerful
Yeah.
here. Uh, so while I would love to listen to you and listen to your journey, uh, my listeners always are looking at, and the feedback that I've been getting from some of them is that the stories are so powerful, and the concrete takeaways that are there that your guests are giving us, it kind of helps us reflect. So what would you want my listeners to reflect while they're listening to us today?
I think the crux of what we spoke, which is if any one of your listeners want to truly make an impact in this world, right? Start with that transformation journey with the inner self. So forget about what the world is going through, uh, and look at and sit just with yourself for that 1 minute, 2 minutes, or 5 minutes. Yeah, eyes closed and just sit. Uh, the second is you don't need to go through this journey alone. So solicit partners, people who are uh, absolutely there to help you, right? So don't feel completely stranded or alone and helpless. There are more people who who want you to succeed as compared to what you think. Uh, Last but not the least, it's that first step which is the most difficult, and hence have the courage and the conviction to travel through this journey. And it's not about it's about putting these small steps and small milestones as to but it's that first step, having that courage and the conviction to do that. So those will be my three message if you want.
I love the courage and conviction. I think it's very that's the first step. I guess if we're able to articulate it, talk about it, be
Yeah,
vulnerable. I think somewhere in between in our conversation,
yeah,
you also mentioned being vulnerable. It's okay, I don't know, or I need your help,
yeah,
you know. I
yeah,
think that's
yeah.
something that's very, very concrete, Abhishek. And thank you so much for that. And thanks for shedding your thoughts on transformation with us and wishing you all the best in the change. You are in the journey in which I'm just trying to get into. So I think that's something that I will fall back on you for some more inputs on transformation and change. But lovely talking to you today. And thank you again.
No, thank you so much. I really truly appreciate you reaching out and having me on podcast. And all the very best in your journey as well. I know I've seen that change in you from 2000 to now. So it's so pleasant to see that, and I wish you all the very best, and all the best to your listeners as well.
Thank you.